Welcome to Star Self, Astrology Unplugged. I'm Rick DiClemente. Welcome. Tonight we'll be talking about following your sun sign to get inspired to do something because of the ongoing refrain that you hear, what can one person do? This is addressing the gravity of the planets and the gravity of the situation that's upon us the next several years. And I wanted to follow up per sun sign because I think it can help you give a different perspective. Before I do and get into that tonight, I want to remind you that we have guests coming up, some really good ones. And this will be next week. Linda Veros will be with us next week, and she is a very fine psychic in Pittsburgh. She talks about the rainbow bridge, making the connection stronger between the self and the heart. That's what she calls it. In a couple of weeks, on November 21st, we're going to have the very fine Linda Hill, who's Australian, who has done a number on the 360 degrees of the zodiac. She's retranslated them, and she is the voice of the Sabian symbols. This was named after a group of people called the Sabians way back before Christ. Our regular guest every 6 months, the Reverend Greg Keene, will be with us again doing spiritual mediumship on December 12th. And then I had to push back Leanne Fortunato Hetzel. She'll be talking about connecting with your quantum self who exists in the future. What the hell is that? I don't know. Anyhow, I do know, and it's not my talent, but it's hers. And she goes around the country helping people, taking people to higher dimensions. So we're leaving the old one behind. We're leaving Newton behind, and the old apple on the head and all that stuff is long gone. It's a whole different universe, and it all twisted around in 2012, just like they said it would. Okay, now where I got to tonight. This will show tomorrow and every day after on the YouTube channel under my name. I might as well show you this graphic in case you, let's see here, in case you are wanting to join us on a Thursday night, just go to starself.com/unplugged and you can join in the fun like we're live right now. Please put up with me. I got a sore throat. So I'll try to be as clear as I can. Okay. Now, how I got this was I was reading about the young lady, and I figured she had to be an Aquarian, and she was. And she was a young lady. I don't know her name. I don't remember, but this has been 20 years ago, I guess. She spent 2 years on top of a door. She was on a platform, a flattened out door, up not in the sequoias, but in the large trees in California. I can't remember what they're called, but she saved them. Julia Butterfly Tree, that's her name. Thank you, Erica. Very good. And I figured she had to be an Aquarian because they're so fanatical about. I like how I got brains all over the place, and I just think of the idea, and you guys tell me the word. Hi there, Mark and Linda, and Doobie a Dumpy, and Dumpy a Doobie. Okay, so anyhow, she spent 2 years sleeping and living on top of a door, a couple 100 feet up in these trees, and her friends would send food up, and she stood up there, sat up there, slept up there for 2 years, and she saved that forest. So don't tell me one person can't do something. I've been studying this question a long time. What's wrong with America? What is wrong with America is we're really spoiled. For the longest time, we had a big ocean here, still do. Big ocean here, still do. Big countries that are rather quiet above us and below us. Nothing bothered us. Nothing can't touch this until 9/11. We've got to become active. Things are dying. I'm not going to give you a lecture. You watch the news like I do. You see the fires in California. It ain't one kind of fire, it's some other kind of fire. So what my thought was, there's too much jive sun sign astrology out there. And in one way, we're very thankful because it keeps astrology alive. Because frankly, a lot of people hang on to their sun sign because it's an ego thing. I'm a Sag, you're a Sag, I'm a Sag, we're Sagittarius. I'm a Capricorn, we're Capricorn. I got a Capricorn button. My kid's Capricorn, my dog's Capricorn. Okay, but that's kept us alive with the most shallow understanding. That's what this book's about. I dove in, it took me 35 years to get the information together in this book. It took us 3 years to write it. The Exquisite Zodiac. That's not a lighthearted little handbook. That book is about the depths of each sign, what's down deep, what makes each sign like it is. So I highly recommend that you pick it up and read the whole thing, not just your sign. Okay. So when I started into the Aries chapter, I had to quickly, glad you're okay, I had to understand what it's like being Aries. And if you're not an Aries, it's really hard to understand because it's a very uncomplicated sign. All 12 signs are very necessary. They're all really different. They're all based on your element and your quality. Aries is a cardinal fire sign. Cardinal means you start things. Fire means you start to fire. You are the leader. You're the pioneer. You get things going. So I'm going to be talking about the attributes of each sign as far as what you can do in this coming time period. But, you know, I'm trying to encourage. I mean, I'm trying to do something myself. And it's the best I could do is offer my astrological knowledge, I believe. So if you are an Aries and you're encountering this particular time period and things are frightening. I mean, some of the greatest leaders we ever had were Aries people. You know, we had Jefferson and we had Joseph Campbell and Ram Dass. And I mean, the Aries are the pioneers. They're out front. They're the first sign of the zodiac. They don't understand limitations or slowing down or complexity. So if you are an Aries or you've got a lot of Aries in your charts, get going. Go. Aries are not rude. They can be called selfish. They can be called headstrong. But they're usually really nice people, and they just don't want you in their way. Get out of my way. I got things to do. Let's go. Okay, anybody know Aries people in their life? Okay, they just got to go. Let's go. Get out of my way. I got an Aries cat that walks over me. Hey, you want me in your lap now, don't you? Well, yeah, I thought of it. So if you're an Aries, Aries is all about testing themselves. They're adventurous and they're about testing themselves. They love to test themselves. And then they get fascinated and they want to tell the world about how well they did. That's what they're about. So go do it. You want to start something in the voting booths to make sure both sides are playing fair. You want to start something politically. You want to raise hell with Facebook and make sure they're doing things on the up and up. We need fighters everywhere in all kind of different arenas. And Aries people are bold and they're ready to go. And there's one caveat. I want to warn you about the first two signs of the zodiac. And there's nothing they can do about it, but I'm going to warn you anyway. Aries and Taurus people oversimplify things. Well, the reason is this. And they sound convincing. You know how many Tauruses we've had that have bowled over people in whole societies? They sound convincing because they're very sure of themselves. So I'm not telling you to avoid them, I'm just saying use caution. Take a grain of salt with you when you listen to Aries and Taurus because they really sound convincing, but put the salt on there and say, well, maybe it's not this simple. Okay. Aries are very dynamic, very sure leaders, very instinctive, go, 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 and do not caution these people. Do not caution these people. They don't deal well with caution. Okay, I can feel everybody's going in their seat. They're all going, getting ready to go. Okay. To Taurus sign, what do you have? So Aries people are good at generating people, putting fire underneath people, getting them going. Let's go. Okay? All right. But when they tell you the trip will be nice and easy, take 5 minutes, don't believe them. It'll be a bitch of a trip and it'll take 3 days. All right. Okay. Now, Taurus people. Okay. Taurus people are very grounded. Their instinct is to anchor. Yes, the dark side is the Archie Bunker archetype, but the positive side is the Katharine Hepburn type. She wants to go out in her garden. She's very tough, very strong. You don't mess with them. So they're best put them in the warehouse, put them in the organization where they have to do the tough grind, keep the books, keep things going, keep the meal tickets going, keep the food and the wagons coming in and gassed up and fueled. So whatever your mission's about, that's what Tauruses are good for. They lay down the law. They're very firm. They're very strong. Don't put them in any kind of position where they have to be flexible. It's not going to work, usually. Now, remember, when I talk about these signs, I'm not talking about the ones you know. I'm talking in general about thousands of them and distill them down to the lowest common denominator. What's really Taurian about Taurus? So you're going to think of Tauruses, that don't fit. You're going to think of Aries that don't fit, but I'm talking always about the essence of the sign. Okay? So Taurus is really good, really strong. So you can sense that centeredness when you think about Shirley MacLaine. Even though she went off into Flakeville, she was still very centered. She was very down to earth about her experiences. You can see it in Barbara Streisand. That this earthiness about them, that they're very centered. So many men have been wonderful leaders. Well, how did U.S. Grant? How did he finally win the war? I mean, the Aquarian Lincoln was famous for picking the wrong generals, so he finally picked U.S. Grant, and he just said, "Hold your ground and just beat the hell out of him." And he just held a siege up in Vicksburg and other cities, and he just outlasted them. This is sheer old stubbornness. So you want a Taurus on your side if you're battling. What I'm talking about is causes tonight. Causes, whether it's helping people find food, whether it's helping people not get screwed with their homes, whether it's helping people to make sure they get on the voter rolls. We got to fight back. I'm sick of it. I'm just sick of it. I'm just going to say my piece, and you can turn the show on or off. Geminis. I mean, it's very simple what you do with Geminis. Give them the information and let them hand it out. That's it. Get on the horn, call somebody, type it up, get on the internet, do 17 things at once. In astrology, Gemini is the small world, the local world. Across from Sag at the top of the world is opposite. Sag is similar, but is broadcasting on a larger scale. Magazines, the internet, telephony, exchange students. Gemini is more local colleges, local community centers, etc. But there are 2 signs of the zodiac that can't keep their mouth shut. Don't tell a secret to a Gemini or a Libra. Don't do it. You might as well put it on a billboard. Don't do it. Now, occasionally you'll get one that you can trust that they'll keep it zip, but they're going to blab. That's just what they do. Libras love to blab, and so do Geminis. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. Through lots of experience. So Geminis, you want them out front. You want them communicating. You want them taking lots of knowledge. Hey, I heard about this guy. Hey, I heard about this movement over here. Hey, let's call this guy and let him know that we got this guy here. Okay? So if you're a Gemini, get on the move. We got to get off of our ass. It's already getting too late. I'm pushed to the brink all the time. People saying this has been 15 years now. When do you think it's going to end, Rick? What am I going to say? Don't put me in that position. I don't know. It looks grim. It does. That ain't shock, is it? So that's where your Geminis go. They're the communicators. They need to be out front spreading knowledge. They need to get information and disperse it. That's what they're good at. They're not real constant, so I hope they got some Taurus with them. Okay, every sign is so different. It's just remarkable. Cancer. This is a very tough sign. I've spent so much time the past couple of years thinking about Cancer. It's such a enigma. It's a difficult sign because it's very sensitive, and it's not their nature to go beyond their own little family. What do you say? Open the door and go out the door anyway? Their nature is to shut the door and come inside and hold the kids close. Now, some Cancers like Huffington have outer planets like Moon and Sads that she has, which can make them broader and bigger. Some Cancers will operate on a larger scale. But the Cancers, you just do what you do, which is keep the stew hot, keep the army fed when they come back, keep them all patched up when they need nourishment, they need the medical treatment. That's your strength. They come home, they need to rebound, get their strength back, and move on out. People are putting up chats that I don't have time to respond to, so just keep that in mind. Cancers can be tenacious. They can be very strong leaders, but usually they're not. They're usually on the home front. And when you listen to a Cancer, almost all the time what they say is, how do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel? Other signs don't ask you that. They're very sensitive to how you feel. Okay. But we're best served by Cancers that are taking care of the fort, that are taking care of us, that make sure letters from home get through to us, you understand? I know I'm painting a scenario that's like a war because it is. All right. Leo, very loud, expressive, creative, very fixed fire. I'm lighting my fire and it's not going out. This is a pretty good leader to follow behind. But you got to make sure that they're lighting the fire for the group and not for themselves. That's the difference between Leo and Aquarius. So Leos can be marvelous leaders. They're very strong. They're very unusual. They have a very thin skin and a very thick skin at the same time. Things bounce off of them. In other words, they have a very thick skin if you're watching. If you're not watching, they have a very thin skin. So we need them up front, out front, declaring how things are going to be, conquering at the tables, doing all the talking, doing the mediation, etc., representing us, because Leo has that sense of, you're not messing with me, are you? No, you can't be talking about me. What is this? Me? So it's that very strong sense of self. Sometimes it gets too strong, but we need that sense out there battling back when Walmart wants to pay you $10 an hour to work your ass off. Whatever. I mean, anywhere you look, something's wrong. Anywhere you look, we need somebody battling. We need experts like Mark. Mark keeps quiet over in the corner, but Mark is up on everything. Believe me. and Aries. He battles silently. Matter of fact, if you turn him on, he doesn't get silent. He stays quite vocal, which is really good. Okay, now the Virgos are next, and I thought I would put the Virgos and Scorpios together. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about them differently, and the Virgos and Scorpios. Why? Because we need them inspecting the rolls. We then need them inspecting who's behind counting the votes. Because Virgos are going to keep working until they get down to the nth detail and find out what's happening. And the Scorpios aren't going to quit till they get behind the scene. So we need them out there talking to Facebook and to all these other Twitter, etc., and find out what's really going on. Because how do you even trust what you read anymore? How do you? Well, these two signs won't be bullshitted. Virgos, no matter what the job is, give it to them. They're not really good leaders, not really. But any job, give it to them. They'll get it done. They'll work their ass off and get it done. Wonderful sign. Very powerful. Very selfless. Libra, one of the most important signs. I've been doing a couple of years on Cancer. I'm now shifting to Libra, and I'm also doing a lot of excess work on Sagittarius because it's a sign that fools a lot of people. It's a lot deeper than we think. Libra. Libras are very street savvy people. They're very smart. They almost always end up with a good job because they take their job seriously. They take the game of life seriously, and they don't like failing. Libras are very competitive people. We need them to fix society because that's what they do. We need them to be out there shaking hands. The politicians, in a sense. You want to play with Stuart? Stuart brought me his ring. Stuart is an Aquarian with a T-square to Uranus and Aries. Here. Why do you always do when I'm on the air? Here. Okay. He likes it. Stuart's the Aquarian. Very lovable. Okay, Libras are very important because their job is cardinal air. Cardinal air. These are the people you go to when you're stuck mentally. How many Capricorns think themselves into the corner? I know I do. Huh? Capricorns are famous for the only way to do this, and the only way to do this, and the only way to do this. Next thing we're in the corner and we can't even talk. Go to Libras. Libras say, well, relax now. You got this option, you got this option, you got that option. Very calm, very good lawyers, very good thinkers, very sane, very social. They're not a good sign for dealing beyond society and dealing with the esoteric. You probably sense that when you listen to Timothy Leary talk. BS. Anyhow, they're wonderful at the physical level. They're wonderful at the social level. They should be put in charge of lots of things. They have ideas. They teach you how to think. Your group's off track. They teach you how to think. The only problem with you Libras is you're too nice about it. This is no longer time to be nice. This is no longer that time. This ain't the 50s with Mrs. Cleaver. I'm not talking about raising hell per se like Eris wants you to do, but don't win the war for the sake of being nice and tactful. We're going to win the war so we get air to breathe and water to drink. You know what I'm saying? Use your charm, use your charisma, use your tact. Unfortunately, the president has 3 planets in Libra, and that lets him get away with a lot. But anyhow, it's not a time to compromise. And Libras can be very tough at they're the sign of mediation. Scorpio, what I got to say about Scorpio. anything you care about. This is the sign. Them and Virgo are the two signs that are really about caring. Scorpio, if you care about the cardinals that you haven't seen all summer in your garden, if you care about the people in line at Social Security office, whatever it is that bugs you, if you care about a job as a nurse, whatever, get involved because nobody can mess with you. Whoever tried to mess with Scorpio, raise your hand. Okay. How many times you get your butt kicked? She stopped counting. Okay. Well, they can be underhanded, and that's all got to do with whether they hate themselves, but most of them are not. And if they are really passionate about their purpose, you can't mess with them. You can't touch them. Can't touch it because they're passionate and they're fixed water. Fixed water means I feel this way. That's how I feel. I love it. I hate it. I love it. I hate it. I love it. I hate it. Black and white. Strong feelings. A lot of our great generals in the World War II were Scorpios. Teddy Roosevelt was a Scorpio. Robert Kennedy was a Scorpio. These people have very strong dedication, and they cannot stand. I keep telling you this every week. They cannot stand the word betrayal. They will not betray you. You better not betray them. So if you want to go into a hot kitchen, get in there, but it's going to be hot. Okay? Colleen says, absolutely. There's a Scorpio student of mine. Is this making sense to you tonight, what I'm doing? Okay, now, when I'm casually going through these signs, and you think about a Virgo, you think about a Cancer, can you see this? Somebody's in there moving furniture. He's in there moving chairs around. He wants to be played with. Sagittarius is one of the biggest signs for causes. They love causes. They're really educated. They love to read. They're well-rounded. They just cannot stand dishonesty. They can't stand it. And the two signs that are most common, I've done a lot of work, the two signs that are most, and I mean the pieces of signs, the two energies that people have when they're in politics are Sagittarius and Taurus. The Sag makes them, well, look at the ultimate Sag was Churchill. And the Taurus, they just look at Pelosi. She ain't gonna give up. She just digs in. She's in Aries, but she got 5 planets in Taurus. Look at on the flip side, McConnell. He's a Pisces, you never know it. He's got 5 planets in Taurus. That's why these people dig in. Okay, so the Sag is really good for a cause. The problem with Sag is one cause looks almost as good as the next cause, and they're very changeable because their nature is to be changeable. They're fire mutable. They get excited about this, then they get excited about that, and they get excited about that. And it looks like they're petering out on you, but they're not necessarily petering out. They see all these different things they could be doing. So don't make the Sages right on the dotted line. Don't trap them, okay? If they use their enthusiasm as a getting the ball rolling, they're cheerleaders of the zodiac, okay? But don't hold them to it when they don't finish, because that's Capricorn's job to come behind with the broom and like Mr. Peabody. You all remember that, Mr. Peabody with his broom. He's coming behind the parade, having to clean everything up. That's the Capricorn following the Sag horse. But Sages are wonderful. They're very outspoken. Look what Jon Stewart did in front of the Congress. Look what he did. He put his ASS ass on the line, and he told them off to their face. to get the money for the 9/11 people. And he was serious about it. You can see he's a triple Sag, by the way. Sun, moon, and rising. But you could tell it's not just Sag. He's got some Scorpio in there. He felt for these people. He knew these people. And the damn law changed because of him. See, I don't know what the heck I'm doing, but I want to hear 2 years from now when you're on the podium say, I don't know, but I was listening to this weird astrology guy a couple of years ago. He lit a fire under me, and I haven't stopped since. I don't know. Everybody here is such good people and such good interests and such great different abilities, capacities. I'm just here to remind you of your fire. And all the fires are all divine. They all come from beyond. They all come from whatever word you want to use. They're sparked. So Sag can be a wonderful sign. Just don't be afraid to call them on their bullshit. Okay? If you got to call them on their bullshit, call them on it. Don't laugh it off and get a beer and go on to the next thing. So it's okay. Now we're getting heavy duty because we're in the last 3 signs of zodiac. Capricorn, number 10. Well, you've watched me do this for 3 years, and I'm not a typical Capricorn, but I got a lot of Aquarius. So Capricorns are very good. They're leaders. They're material leaders, down-to-earth, practical leaders. So they're very good at, you've got a plan, you've got something set in motion, and they're going to make it functional. They're going to make it happen. They're just not very good thinking outside the box. They're not usually creative outside the box. So you're going to have to help them so they don't limit themselves or put themselves in a corner. Very strong-minded, very dedicated to the wholeness of man, this strong sense of duty and responsibility the other signs don't even understand. So it's a marvelous sign. I don't know what you different people have. I want to cut this short here in a few minutes because I want to hear from you, not like a long lecture, but I want to hear from, what are you thinking of doing? What are you thinking of doing? What are you working on? God's presenting himself to you through some person you know, some guy at the parking lot, some girl at the cafeteria. God's presenting himself through these people that are giving you messages and tickling you in a certain area to wake up a certain part of you. Aquarius, oh my God, this is the radical of all of them. This is the girl up in the tree. They don't need people. They're very independent. They're very likable. They have the definition of friendship. They're very tolerant, strong-minded, probably too strong. Very powerful minds, very learned. Get fanatical about things. And I don't know why, but it's taken me a couple of years to really understand these people are into the environment. Fanatics about it. FDR was a good example of the Aquarian. The power of Aquarius is everybody just shut up and let's just work together. That's what FDR was saying. Look us and Lincoln, two of the greatest we ever had. Washington was a Pisces. Let's just shut up and work together for the good of all of us. And things worked out. But then other voices got involved and whatever. Very cause-oriented, very strong, smart, great researchers, great organizers, very dedicated, selfless. Final sign, Pisces. Difficult sign to talk about. Difficult. There's so many different types of them. They can be very weak-willed. They can be very loving and very selfless. Washington was a Pisces, yes. But you have to see his charts, and he had a remarkable chart. His chart, Franklin's chart, Roosevelt's, all of the greats have remarkable charts. They just do remarkable charts. I remember Washington and Lincoln, especially Washington's, was quite astounding. I'll do it some night, just the founding fathers and mothers. Anyhow, the Pisces are usually very good followers. They're really good at the hospital, taking care of, not thinking about themselves. What was the Florence Nightingale was a Pisces? Um, Being very selfless and doing what it takes. You never thought for the self. Okay? They usually don't make good leaders unless the rest of the chart is there, because their theme of it doesn't matter, you really don't want that on the front line. It doesn't matter. Why did they put me up here? I don't know, but let's get you in the back. So who do we see strong leaders? The Aries can be the Tauruses, the Leos, the Libras, the Scorpios, the Capricorns, the Aquarians. So this is not just sun sign astrology. We're digging deep into the archetypes of these. So I want to, hello, Deborah. I almost said the shortcut, but I changed my mind. Anyhow, your microphones, all you got to do is, we're still taping. You can turn yourself on. What I want to hear about is what's coming to you, what you would like to get involved with, or you would like to get started, and perhaps ask a question about how your sun sign or your chart might blend with that. So, what's the sign for today? Dr. Kim always has a Course in Miracles sign for us. Here's tonight's sign. Oh, it's empty. It's empty. So that means be a blank page for God so that God can write upon it for you. Okay, who's got an idea? What do you want to talk about? What's calling you? Come on. What's calling you guys to do what? We got to do stuff. Okay, Kim's going to go first, I can tell.
Yeah, I'll go
ahead.
first. Well, I'm here caring for my mom, and her mental capacities are going different ways with a 90-year-old event. And I'm being called to make this compound for people that have disabilities or needs, to where someone that cares, which I care, to be a safe place for them, since it's such a
And
big
she's got a lot of Virgo in her.
Mm-hmm.
So she wants to set up. Virgos are really attracted towards hospitals, taking care of people, doing what you can to allow God to work through you and fix people. That's the middle name. All Virgo people, their middle name is Fitz. Thank you, Doctor. We call her Doctor. Don't ask me why. Erica is up next. Let's see what we can do with Erica. Erica, you're on.
As I've already mentioned before.
I can't hear you very well, dear.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, keep it up pretty good.
Maybe I need to, should I?
Just speak louder, be all right.
Speaker up? I mean, I don't know what to do here. As I've already mentioned before, I've been getting involved in learning about community mental health, and especially for people who are underserved. So I'm about to, oops, where did you go? I'm about to finish a certificate as a community mental health worker, and we're going to hopefully teach people how to take charge of their own health, get away from the medical model, go to the well-being model of peer-to-peer support, and what the Kathy Community Miracle Center.
Well,
name?
that's because of Course in Miracles. Don't get the two confused.
Yeah, well, but that type of idea, people helping one another and taking back our power and our advocacy, and learning other things besides taking medication. I mean, medication is good, but we want more respect from doctors and caregivers. We want more
Advocates.
accountability.
Advocates.
Advocates.
You see how she is a Taurus, and she's talking about making a center where people can come to the center and get strengthened there. And one of the worst things you could even think about is being mentally ill during this time and getting passed around by doctors or systems and drug to drug to drug. And boy, that's certainly a place we need to start with, especially with the people that are incarcerated.
Well, I'm not talking to people that are incarcerated, but I talk to people twice a week for about 8 hours a day who are disabled, senior citizens, living in assisted living homes. They call in on this warm line that I'm doing my internship and volunteering on. And I'm getting, a view into people's lives like I've never had before.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Now, tell me, Erica,
Yeah.
I want to move on to different people now. What is it in you that you think the Taurus helps you with?
Reality is a thing for me.
Yes, you want a reality base, not high pie in the sky. Promise.
Yeah, and also the physical body and the things that you go through with, disability or pain or illnesses.
Okay, well, thank you very much. That sounds really good. You're right on track. Who else was up next? Come on now, let's all speak up. Come on, Linda, I can see you squirming there. Go ahead. We need to hear from this Libra that is at a university. Go ahead.
Well, I started doing this a while ago, and I got more involved on Twitter. I try not to do a lot of politics on Facebook because it gets to be messy. But on Twitter, it's a more of the Scorpio rising in me likes the fight, the scrum that goes on there. You have to be tough to do Twitter. You can't be a whiny baby. People who are whiny babies, get ratios on Twitter. But what I do on Twitter is I try to be, I try to amplify things that I think are positive and important for people to know, to help to keep the good stories in the news, get people aware of things, but also to really hold news organizations accountable, and most particularly the New York Times, because I am on the New York Times like white on rice. Like they put an article, I read it, I look at the framing, I look at the facts, I look at how they present it, I look where they bury the lead, or the story isn't really what they think the story is. And
so you're like a watchdog.
Yeah, I'm like and doing as much as I can in that area to because it's not, everybody thinks the media is slanted, like it's right, it's Republican or Democrat. It's not. It's corporate. The media is corporate. It's about, at the top end, it's about money. That is not to say there aren't really good journalists and people doing good stories, or even that outlets like the New York Times, which I find very problematic, can't do good investigative pieces. It's that every day, the way they present news on social media and in the paper, subtly moves us away from things that are good for people. It's subtly.
Tell me how you're Libra. Okay, I mean, I can see you got
Well,
Libra.
I'm very tactful.
And the Scorpio in you strong too.
Well, the thing is that you can't be vulgar with people or
right.
or mean. You can't be mean. And that's the good thing about being a Libra. It's really hard for me to be mean, but I can be tough and I can be straight. Scorpio is like straightforward. You just say it. You don't sugarcoat it. But the other side of it, you're not doing it with a mean intent.
Right.
Even with Maggie Haberman, who I swear to God is on Trump's payroll. But so I think that's one thing that we're doing. And the second thing I'm doing is trying to work in my own institution to try to get to educate people towards civic responsibility. and get a new generation of kids working on that. And the third thing is, you commented on my Facebook page. I'm very upset about the birds. I don't know what to do about it yet, but I'm starting to look at it.
Well,
But,
as a Libra who is here to teach us how to think, what are you trying to do to help people think better?
well, I mean, part of it is that you have to show them that they're not thinking well. You have to say, like, why would you say that? Or, why would why is this headline phrased this way when that's misleading? Like, just actually sort of calling out the thing that's not thoughtful.
So you're reframing all the time.
Trying to reframe things and trying to get other people to think about reframing and to encourage them not to be just nasty to one another, but rather to hold people, and like, here's an example. Marco Rubio, honest to goodness. Now, this is where I get a little bit mean.
Gemini.
He's just so awful. It's like what he does is, instead of doing something, he's a senator. He's one of 100 people. He could have stopped the Kurdish thing. He and Lindsey Graham could have gone to Trump and say, you can't abandon the Kurds, or we're gonna impeach you. We're gonna convict you when it comes up for impeachment. We're gonna stand against you. And he would have backed down in a New York minute, but he won't do that. Instead, he wants to tweet Bible verses. And so
he's very changeable.
So what I do is I tweet back the Bible verse he should have quoted. I remind him about the poor. I remind him about the sick. I remind him about the imprisoned. I remind him what Jesus said. I remind him to love your neighbor.
Well, it sounds to me like you're working overtime.
It's like really fast, I mean,
we need about 60,000 more of you.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people, and I'm trying to show how to do it without being nasty.
Well, you do that very well, and you're very tactful. You are a very good example for all of us.
Help me figure out how to save the birds, and I'll be happy.
Well, I'm trying to figure out with the butterflies. Okay, everybody, who's next? Who'd like to speak next? Thank you very much, Linda. Come on now. Who else has something to say? Karen, what's been tickling your ear?
Well, right now I have the opportunity to pursue a PhD in cybersecurity. This is in addition to working full time. And, I'm a Virgo, and I've always wanted to do it. I would say ultimately the reason why I want to do it is so when I retire, I can teach at a university. But I would say that my cause would be teaching people IT, how to protect themselves online, how to keep people from getting robbed blind, and ransomware and we are, as a country and a nation, losing large sums of money to the Chinese, to the Russians. They are stealing our ideas. They are harming us in many, many ways, and that is because there are very few people that are truly educated in cybersecurity.
You see, the first thing I said tonight when I brought up Virgo and I put Scorpio together, I put you two out there digging behind the scenes, see who's back there fooling around. That's why I put you there.
Yeah, so I mean, it's something I want to do, but I don't want to. I don't want to just end up just working my whole life and then dropping dead because all I did was work.
That's a very good phrase for all Virgos. Yes.
Yeah, it's like balance, or I will just work myself.
I spend 50% of my week talking to Virgos into being a non-robot. Every week, 50% of my time is trying to talk Virgos into unplugging. And now we have a show called Unplugged. Thank you, Carolyn. That sounds really good and exciting, and you're right on track. And it's really rewarding to hear that. Thank you.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Other folks, come on, what's on your mind? Come on, somebody's getting inspired to do something. Oh, she's got a new sign for us. She's making up one here. What about Marcia, bud? Come on. What's on your mind? I know you got lots of ideas. If you live with Macduff, you have to. That's her twin brother. Yeah.
I think the caretaker
is huge in me. And I've been very concerned about our youth and the anxiety that so many of them live with.
Yeah.
And so I find myself talking to people, talking about their children, trying to figure out how to help them from afar. But I haven't pinpointed it yet, how I can maybe work a little further.
It'll come. It'll come.
Yeah.
It'll come.
It kills me to see all these people all over the planet, young people, protesting and having nothing.
Yeah, we've sure haven't left them much. Yeah, well, that's very good. And you're seeing a whole new generations coming out from within us. You got to remember, everybody, we got to do your reading. This is the age of Eris. This is the Eris age. Even the astrologers don't know it yet, but it is. Get that book by DeGrace on Eris. It is fabulous. Come on, Mark. Thank you, Marcia, bud. Mark, I know you got 65 million ideas on your brain. What is it about? I'm trying to unmute you. What is it? What is it about your thing about climate?
Oh no, I just posted. You made the comment about it's too late, and I think you're spot on. I don't think people really appreciate how too late it is when it comes to the earth and the environment and the climate. In terms of what I do is I just try to inform people. That's about all I can do at this point in time, since I don't really have much social contact anymore. So anytime that I'm out and interact with people and they start telling me things from the news, I amplify what they say and try to educate them and get them out of their comfort zone. Just they start thinking from a bigger perspective. So that's probably the biggest.
That's really good. That's really good. As a leading Aries, put a fire under him. Liza's going to get the book for me. It's one of the compatriots to Richard Tarnas, one of his proteges named Chiron LeGrace. He's brilliant. Chiron LeGrace, Discovery. Thank you, Liza. Discovering Eris. Now, the first half of the book is very much about the mythology, not getting invited to the party and throwing the golden apple into the party and the age of chaos, and she's the goddess of discord. But the second half is unbelievable. It is so accurate for a 2012 book. And it was only discovered in 2005. We don't have that much evidence. But he tells you what it's like in charts, what it's like transiting, why she's doing what she's doing. She can't stand unfairness. She can't stand people rising to the level like the Peter Principle, where they don't deserve where they're at. And she will raise hell to get things balanced. And that's why they think she's a co-ruler of Libra. And she's much more, let's just say, energetic than Pluto is. She's way beyond Pluto. Thank you, Mark, for that. And I admire Mark very much because he's saying like it is. It's late. You know, people don't want me to say, they tell me, don't scare me, don't scare me. Well, look around you. It's scary. It ain't what I'm saying. I'm not going to hide. Okay, it's scary. And Eris is one of the big reasons. Highly recommended, even if you can't handle the mythology. Read it for the second half. Just a marvelous book. I don't say it very often on astrology. Okay, we're coming near the end of the show. I think we've had the points come across tonight. I'm very moved by the fact that everybody's picking up different twinges of do this, do that. I will say this, and I think it will help you. I deal a lot with people that want to find their way. And what I have learned, not that I'm a terrific way shower, but I have learned without a doubt that when you identify your blockages and you start to move the blockages to the side, and you don't have to move them all the way to the side, plus you don't have to do the work. Someone will help you do the work. Then you'll start to see your way. Just how it happens. I say it again. Identify the blockage. Just show the willingness to get the blockage moved to the side. You don't have to get it all the way, and you don't have to do all the work. Ask for help. It's unbelievable. Why do you think she calls it, the doctor calls it the Miracle Center? We are one. There you go. I knew we'd get something out of her tonight. That's it. And then, because I know how people suffer, I see it all the time. People really are suffering. They want to know what their purpose is. They want to know what their destiny is. And that really can't come until the blockage is moved at least a little bit. And once the blockage moves, it starts to become clearer and clearer. So I would like to hear more back on that as we get into next week. Next week, remember, we'll be looking at new guests. Next week is Linda Veros talking about getting connected to the head and heart, the rainbow bridge inside. And then you want to make sure you don't miss the 21st of November with Linda Hill talking about the meaning of each degree. Boy, is that something. And boy, is it really accurate. Okay, everybody, I'll take my horse throat and go watch my Mountaineer game on videotape or whatever it is. 1 second, Susanna Vare says she's got something for you. Yeah.
You need hot tea and lemon.
Hot tea and lemon, I can do that.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. Love to all of you. See you next week. Thanks for showing up. It was really good tonight. Thank you, Mark. Everybody, bye-bye. There's still